When I was 59, I almost died. My heart was in bad shape, and the doctor told me I might not have long to live. At that moment, I thought, this must be the end of my life. But strangely, a feeling stronger than the fear of death welled up inside me. I still have things I want to do. I still have things I want to convey. I still have people I want to see. It was then that I realized for the first time that I had been putting off what was truly important in my life. I had been so busy with work that I forgot to build deep connections with people. Fortunately, my life was saved, and that experience completely changed me. From the age of 60, I became a completely different person. The way I interacted with people, the way I lived, everything changed. I realized that the true richness of life can only be tasted after you get older. I'm sure you're also chasing something, living a busy life every day. But I want you to stop and think for a moment. Are you losing sight of what's truly important? Today, I'm going to tell you everything about the real life I began at 60. I'm sure you'll understand how wonderful your life can become. Chapter 1. Dispelling misconceptions about getting older. People in this world have a big misunderstanding. They think that when you get old, you should retire, make way for younger people, and live a quiet life. But I, having lived for 94 years, am certain that this is the most mistaken idea. It was 1960. When I turned 65, a newspaper reporter came to me and said, "Mr. Matsushita, how about retiring soon? You've worked enough, and it might be a good idea to let the younger generation take over the company and take it easy." I laughed and answered, but in my heart, I was thinking, what are you talking about? I'm just about to start the most interesting work. Leave it to the young people? Young people are energetic, sure, but there's still so much they don't know. That reporter didn't understand that there are things that only the older people can do. The value of a person who holds the treasure of experience. In fact, starting the next year, I began a groundbreaking new business. It was a bold undertaking that overturned common sense. People around me said, "You're getting old. You don't have to push yourself." But I was confident. There are things I can do precisely because of my age now. And what do you think happened? That business was a huge success. The ideas and decisions I made were something the younger me could never have come up with or made. Why was I able to do that? It was because I had gained a special power from getting older. The ability to see people, the ability to see the essence of things, and the wisdom to distinguish between what is truly important and what isn't. Young people don't have this yet. No matter how smart you are, no matter how much you study, there are things you can only acquire through experience. I had a friend who was a master carpenter at 80, and the houses he built were completely different from those of other carpenters. Whether he was hammering a single nail or choosing a piece of wood, his many years of experience guided him. This is how it should be done here. This wood will be like this in 20 years. He knew things like that. It's the same. In human relationships and at work, there are things you only understand after you get older. You can deeply understand things that you could only see the surface of when you were young. That's why I want to say this out loud. Don't be afraid of getting older. Don't think of age as a limitation. It is your greatest weapon. Don't be swayed by society's prejudices. You're old now. You're not young anymore. Don't lose to such words. The years you've lived are your unique treasure. It's too wasteful to end your life without using that treasure. The person who undervalues your worth the most might actually be yourself, but don't worry. I'll teach you what wonderful powers you gain by getting older and how to use them. The first thing I want you to know is that as you get older, your ability to see people improves significantly. Chapter 2, the ability to see people that blossoms after 60. What I'm about to talk about is something the younger me could never have understood. But after I turned 60, it became clearly visible to me. It was 1963. When I was 68, we were starting a new business at the company, and I had to choose a person to be in charge. There were 5 candidates in the room. The younger me probably would have chosen the one with the highest academic background or the one who was the most eloquent. But the me at that time was different. Among the 5, there was one plain middle-aged man. His academic background wasn't that high, and he wasn't a great speaker. Compared to the other candidates, he looked inferior in every way. But when I looked into his eyes, I knew, this is the one. Why did I know? It's because his eyes held sincerity. I saw a sense of responsibility. And most of all, I felt a kindness that genuinely cared for others. The younger me wouldn't have understood something like this. I would have only looked at superficial things, worrying about academic background and experience. But as I got older, I understood. The most important thing is a person's heart, their humanity. And what do you think happened, Mus? That plain, middle-aged man achieved amazing results that no one had predicted. He was adored by his subordinates, trusted by his clients, and the business was a great success. After a meeting, a young executive asked me, "Why did you choose him?" "There were more capable people." I replied, "You might not understand yet, but he was the most capable." He had a different kind of capability than what you're thinking of. There are various kinds of capability. The capability to get good grades on a test, the capability to be good at presentations. But the most important capability is the capability to be a trustworthy person. This is something you understand after you get older. When you're young, you're drawn to people who stand out. Flashy people, loud people, confident people. But as you get older, you start to see who is truly important. That you can understand such things is also because you've gotten older. When you look at people now, what are your criteria? Appearance, academic background, income, age. Those might be important too. But what's truly important is a person's heart, what they do when they are in trouble, and how they feel about others. When you can understand such things, your life changes because you'll be able to associate with truly good people. You'll be able to have heartfelt relationships, not just superficial ones. This is a privilege of those who have gotten older. It's a world that young people don't understand yet. But you too will surely acquire this power as you age. And when you acquire the power to see people, something else happens. You become able to build deep human relationships you've never experienced before. Chapter 3, Heartfelt Relationships. Impossible in your youth. When I was young, I wasn't so much bad at human relationships as I didn't know what real human relationships were. There were only work relationships, relationships of convenience. But after I turned 60, I started to experience a completely different kind of human relationship, a truly warm relationship where hearts connect. It was 1970. When I was 75, a major labor dispute occurred at the company. The union took a very firm stance, demanding better working conditions. The younger me would have probably gotten angry and tried to push through with force. What are you talking about? Think about the company. But the me at that time was different. First, I decided to sit down and talk with the union representatives. I said, "Please tell me how you feel. Why are you so angry? What are your complaints? What do you want? I want to think about it with you." At first, they were wary. "You'll just end up pushing the company's convenience on us anyway," they thought. But I was serious. I tried to put myself in their shoes and understand their feelings. I listened to everything, their families, their future anxieties, their thoughts about work. Then I understood. They weren't making unreasonable demands at all. They were all serious about their work and loved the company. They just had a little bit of anxiety. I said to them, "I understand your feelings well. I too felt similar anxieties when I was young. Let's solve this together." At that moment, the atmosphere in the conference room changed. The previous confrontational mood disappeared and was replaced by a warm atmosphere. One union member said, "Mr. Matsushita, you understand us. You really care about us." At that moment, I was happy from the bottom of my heart. It was a joy I could never have experienced when I was young. Why did I become able to do this? It's because as I got older, I was able to stop only thinking about myself. I became able to genuinely want to understand the other person's feelings. When you're young, you tend to want to push your own opinion. If you think you're right, you try to persuade the other person. But as you get older, it's different. You first try to understand the other person. You try to think from their perspective. This is a characteristic of human relationships that you only notice after you get older. A relationship where you try to be happy together, not one where you try to defeat the other person. A relationship where you cooperate, not one where you compete. There was a fishmonger in my neighborhood. At first, he treated me as Mr. Matsushita of Matsushita Electric, but gradually he started treating me as just a neighborhood guy. When I was talking to that old man, I was most relaxed. It was a relationship between one human and another, regardless of titles or anything. I was able to build such a relationship because I was older. When you're young, titles and positions get in the way. You tend to think as the department head or the president, but as you get older, you can interact with someone as just a human being beyond such things. You might be struggling with human relationships now with your boss, your subordinates, your friends. Things might not be going well, but don't worry, as you get older, you will be able to build a completely different kind of human relationship, a deeper, warmer, and more authentic one. The key to that is simple. Try to understand the other person, empathize with their feelings, and value their feelings more than your own opinions. When you can do this, your life will truly become rich. Every day will be fun. You'll be happy to meet people. And as you become able to build these deep human relationships, something else happens. You become able to take on new challenges that are only possible after you get older. Chapter 4, challenges only possible in your 70s and 80s. Everyone is mistaken. They think that when you get older, you should give up on challenges and walk a safe path. But I'm different. There are challenges you can only take on because you've gotten older. It was 1975. When I was 80, I decided to formally expand the activities of the PHP Institute. PHP is an activity that researches how people can be happy. People around me were strongly against it. Mr. Matsushita, you're 80. You've worked enough, so please take it easy. You don't have to start something new now. But I was confident. There are things I can do precisely because of my age now. Why could I say such a thing? It's because challenges you start after getting older have completely different characteristics from those in your youth. First, the motive is pure. Challenges in your youth are often for your own sake. You want to get promoted, make money, become famous. Such feelings are mixed in. But a challenge you start after getting older is different. It can be started with a pure desire to be useful to others and to make the world a better place. You don't think about gain or loss. You don't think about your own profit. You can act with only the desire to do good. And there is less to lose. When you're young, it's a problem if you fail. You have to support your family, pay a mortgage, and it affects your promotion. That's why you tend to choose a safe path. But when you get older, it's different. You've worked enough. Your children are independent. It's not a big problem if you fail, so you can be daring. When I started the PHP activities, people around me said it wouldn't be a business and wouldn't make money. But I didn't care. It wasn't for money. It was for people's happiness. And what do you think happened? Far more people than I had expected became interested. Letters came from all over the country. I sympathize with your ideas, Mr. Matsushita. I want to do this with you. If I had been young, I'm sure I wouldn't have had such a reaction. People might have thought it was for business or for promotion. But because an 80-year-old me said it, everyone took it seriously. Challenges started after getting older have a certain persuasiveness. People think, this person isn't thinking about gain or loss. They are truly trying to do something good. In addition, challenges you start after getting older are fun. There is no pressure. You don't have to rush for results. You can proceed at your own pace. When I turned 85, I started interacting with the neighborhood children. At first, the children were wary. They might have thought I was a scary old man, but as we talked, we realized we had things to learn from each other. I learned sincerity and curiosity from the children. The children learned stories from the past and life wisdom from me. This is also a challenge you can take on after you get older. When I was young, I was too busy to have this kind of time. But because I had time after getting older, I was able to build new relationships. Are there things you've given up on now, thinking, I'm already old? Are there things you've thought, it's too late to start something new now? That's a mistake. There are things you can start precisely because you've gotten older. There are challenges you can take on precisely because you've gotten older. What's important is to make your motive pure. Not for yourself, but for others. Not for money, but for joy. And don't be afraid of failure. You have nothing left to lose. So just go for it. There is still so much potential sleeping inside you. Getting older isn't the end, it's the beginning. But how can you make getting older your weapon? You'll want to know the specific methods. Next, I'll teach you those keys. Chapter 5. Specific ways to use your age as a weapon. I've talked about the wonderfulness of getting older, but you might be thinking, but what exactly should I do? Don't worry, I'll teach you specific ways to use your age as a weapon by telling you a story I experienced when I was 87. It was 1982. A young company president came to me for advice. He was a serious-looking man in his 30s who ran a small company. He said, Matsushita, I'm a failure. My employees betrayed me, my clients abandoned me, and I have no choice but to close my company. The old me would have probably said, what are you talking about? Don't be so weak. Work harder. But the 87-year-old me was different. I first listened carefully to his story. What happened? Please tell me in detail. He tearfully told me about how a trusted manager ran off with money, how a major client suddenly canceled their contract, and how the bank refused a loan. As I listened, I understood. This person wasn't a bad person at all. He just had a slightly naive eye for people. I said, actually, I had a similar experience when I was young. His eyes changed. Huh? Even you, Mr. Matsushita? I told him about my own failures, how I was betrayed by a trusted subordinate when I was in my 40s, how much I regretted it, and how depressed I was. But you know it was because of that experience that I am who I am today. It trained my eye for people. You can definitely recover. I continued, your company is about to go under, not because you're a bad person. It's just that you don't have enough experience yet. You can learn from now on. And I gave him specific advice. But I didn't give advice from a superior standpoint. I did it with the attitude of thinking together. This is what I would do, but you should try to come up with your own ideas based on your company's situation. 6 months later, he came back to report that his company had recovered and was doing better than before. I'm so glad I consulted with you, Mr. Matsushita, because you talked about your own failures. I wasn't ashamed to recover. From this experience, I learned how to use age as a weapon. First, share your experiences. The greatest weapon of an older person is a wealth of experience. Share all your successful and failed experiences with younger people without holding back, especially if failure stories are effective. When you say, even I failed, so it's natural for you to fail, younger people feel relieved. They'll start consulting you without feeling ashamed. Second, understand the other person. Don't lecture. Don't push advice. First, understand the other person's feelings. Put yourself in their shoes. Young people want to be understood. They want to be empathized with. When you can do that, trust is born. Third, continue to learn humbly. Just because you're old doesn't mean you know everything. Times change. Young people know more about new things. That's why I often ask young people, please teach me. What do you think? When an older person can learn from a younger person, it creates a relationship where both can learn from each other. I want you to try these 3 things starting today. Share your experiences, understand the other person, and continue to learn humbly. When you can do this, age will not be a limitation, but your greatest weapon. People will come to you for advice. They will come to rely on you. They will come to respect you. And finally, I'll tell you about the wonderful future that awaits you. Chapter 6, your future will shine from now on. It was 1988. When I was 93, I gave a big lecture attended by 3,000 people from all over the country. At that time, I said on a stage, I want to be honest with you all. The most fulfilling period of my life was in my 80s. The venue was filled with murmurs. Everyone was surprised. A 93-year-old man was saying his 80s were the best. I continued, it was only in my 80s that I was able to truly love people, truly be of service to people, and truly feel happiness. At that moment, people were crying here and there in the audience. Especially the elderly people of my generation were all in tears. After the lecture, an old woman came to me and said, Mr. Matsushita, thank you. I'm 75 and I thought my life was over. But after hearing your talk today, I feel like I still have so much to look forward to. From that day on, that old woman's life changed. She started volunteering in her community, bringing joy to many people, and living a vibrant life. This is what I wanted to convey. Getting older isn't the end. It's a new beginning. When you're young, you're so busy with yourself. You work hard and do your best for your life, your family, your future. That's important, of course, but when you get older, it's different. You become able to live not just for yourself, but for others, for society, and for the future, with a pure heart. Young people can't do this yet. It's a privilege only for those who have aged. People can live for 100 years. Being 60 is still young. Even at 70 or 80, you can still do so much. What's important is not to be afraid of getting older and to use getting older as a weapon. I have a friend who started painting at 60. At first, he was terrible, but he looked so happy. It's okay to be bad, he said. As long as it's fun, it's good. I've made new friends, and every day is so fulfilling. He's 80 now and still painting. I don't know if he's gotten better, but he looks being happy. This is the wonderfulness of getting older. The courage to try new things and to purely enjoy them without worrying about the results. I want you to start today. Even if it's just one thing, try to start something new. Don't be afraid to interact with people younger than you. Don't be ashamed of failure. Have courage. Tell someone about your experiences. Your life's main event is about to begin. The years you've lived so far were all preparation. Your real life starts now. You have potential. There are things only you can do. There are things only you can convey. Don't be afraid of getting older. Make getting older your weapon. Your future is about to shine. Conclusion. The greatest lesson I learned in 94 years. The greatest lesson I learned in my 94 years is that it's never too late to start in life. Even at 60, 70, or 80, you can still do new things. You can still be useful to others. You can still grow. The true meaning of getting older isn't heading towards the end. It's heading towards the real beginning. You might be struggling with something now. Human relationships, work, your future, but don't worry. There is still so much potential sleeping inside you. And that potential grows as you get older. I am certain from the bottom of my heart that your life from tomorrow on will be even more wonderful than it is today. I hope you will use age as your weapon and enjoy the main event of your life. If there was something from Mr. Konosuke Matsushita's teachings today that resonated with you, please write 100 in the comments and let me know. Your insights, feelings, resolutions, or people you were reminded of, anything is fine. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and click the notification bell. I would like to continue delivering the wisdom of great people to help make your lives more fulfilling.